The 67 CEOs Foundation will host the second edition of its Global Entrepreneurship Week program themed Advancing Inclusive Ecosystems. The organization, which provides mentorship and impactful entrepreneurship workshops to newly established industrialists and SMMEs in partnership with CEOs and seasoned entrepreneurs who volunteer their skills in the services to inspire, mentor, coach and teach, will hold events as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week from the 12th of November to the 16th of November this week. For more on this, we are now joined by the convener as well as the head of 67 CEOs Foundation and the Global Entrepreneurship Week, Mr. Sam Apata. Very good evening to you, sir. We thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Chantal. Thank you very much for having me.
Essentially, what is the importance of hosting an event like this, specifically in relation to young up-and-coming entrepreneurs and your SMMEs?
Thank you very much for that question. The importance of hosting such an event like this is because there's a need for job creation. As we know it, according to the NDP 2013, 11 million jobs are to be created by the SMMEs. And the way that we're going to do that as a nation and a continent and globally also is to the education of entrepreneurship must be emphasized and must be promoted, and that is the reason why we have plugged into the Global Entrepreneurship Week to be able to educate the youth and invite CEOs that can mentor and coach the entrepreneurs, as you have alluded earlier.
And now, speaking of young entrepreneurs and the inclusion of the SMMEs, what can they expect this week? Oh,
they should expect to be inspired, to be mentored, and to be able to pitch their business also, because we're going to have a pitching session where the entrepreneurs are going to be given 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes to be able to pitch their business, and there are prizes to be won for the winners. There are going to be 3 winners, and they're going to have a great time during the Global Entrepreneurship Week. Apart
from being able to interact with the CEOs, what sort of a FaceTime value are young entrepreneurs going to be getting when they're meeting, some of these global giants?
Thank you for that question once again. So one of the things that we've done as 67 CEOs is that we've made sure that we are procuring, as we are planning the event, we made sure that we are procuring from SMMEs, and specifically black young entrepreneurs. And so that's number one benefit already for SMMEs. And in them coming and attend the Global Entrepreneurship Week, they're going to meet CEOs, industry giants. Your example of the ex-CEO of Exaro, Mr. Siponkosi, they're going to meet with Mrs. Molefe, Dineo Molefe. They're going to meet with her, and they're going to learn a lot from them in order to be able to advance in the ecosystem of entrepreneurship.
And can this week also be considered somewhat of a guideline of support?
Say that again, please.
Can this week also be considered somewhat a guideline of support
for SMMEs?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely, because SMMEs and young entrepreneurs, they need help. They need support. Either it is educational, and that is key first, educational support. And a platform like this is going to give entrepreneurs the educational support that they need. And obviously financial support also. But as 67 CEOs, we put education first before we put financial support.
Yeah, I was going through the itinerary on what is expected on the different days, and they vary. So from the first day, it's centered around municipalities, and then we move on to Wednesday, and we see entrepreneurs and small SMMEs being afforded the opportunity to speak to women CEOs and hearing their stories. So take us through how the program was actually thought out and how it is going to be implemented throughout this week.
So we look at different researches, your NDP, your GEM, Global Entrepreneurship Monitor researches, and from there we're able to carve out the theme for each day, and also specifically the Global Entrepreneurship Network, the mother body or the organization that is organizing the global entrepreneurship worldwide, has laid out the agenda, and we adopt the agenda, and that is why we're going to be talking about policies and infrastructure, and how the 3 tiers of government can help the SMMEs, your national government, your provincial government, and your local government. How they're going to come together, partner with the private sector. So we're going to be focusing on that tomorrow, which is the 12th of November. And on Tuesday, we're going to focus on women. We need more women CEOs at the GSA level. The number currently is unacceptable if we have to grow as South Africa. On Wednesday, we're going to look at the SMMEs, the NGOs, and all of that, how they can scale their business. And on Thursday, we're going to focus on youth. I'm so looking forward to Thursday. And on Friday, it's going to be pitching. It's going to be product demo. If you have a product, you come, you demo it, and there are going to be different adjudicators that are going to judge. And like I mentioned earlier, prices are going to be won. And
now, speaking of the youth, you know, this is the second edition of the GEW. That's the hashtag GEW 2018. Yes. Speaking of the support that it's seen from last year, what are you seeing in terms of participation of number one, youth, yes, and then number two, women?
Yes. So if I look at the statistic, because we have used a portal that is online to be able to invite the SMMEs, and if I go back to the statistics, we saw interestingly, we saw more women registering to attend the Global Entrepreneurship Week organized by 67 CEOs, and also youth. We saw them. So it's going to be amazing seeing the women coming through to learn from the CEOs that are going to be available, and obviously support for the young entrepreneurs also. I should say that globally, this is the 11th Global Entrepreneurship Week, but for 67 CEO, our first edition was last year, and this year is the second edition.
Yeah, and you know, something that also stood out for me was the fact that this is open to the public. It's yes, not one of those events where you needed to subscribe or you needed to do something to be able to be afforded the opportunity yes, to actually attend. Yes. Give us more details around the event for anybody that's watching that wants to attend this week.
Unfortunately, the RSVP, the official RSVP is closed. But as we go into the week, if there's a need for us to open the RSVP, that is to say where people can reserve for Tuesday, Wednesday, and to Friday, we will open it if there's a need for that. But currently, it's closed. And thanks to our sponsor, Exaro Resources, they've funded the Global Entrepreneurship Week this particular year. And because of that, we're able to make the participation or the registration free for young entrepreneurs.
Great. Definitely something in need for our youngsters this week, if that's something that they'd want to attend this week, of course. That was Convenor and Head of 67 CEOs Foundation and the Global Entrepreneurship Week, Sam Apata, just taking us through the launch. It commences the 12th of November.